Welcome to Talk Treatises.
It's great to be back.
There is a moment in the text we are covering today that I can't get it out of my head.
Oh, I think I know which one you mean.
It's this scene where a giant bronze robot is patrolling a beach, scanning the horizon for intruders, and it's eventually taken down not by some super weapon or a bigger robot, but by a psychological hack. Mm-hmm. It reads like something out of 1950 sci-fi or maybe a modern TV show about autonomous weapons gone wrong. But it was written in the 3rd century BC.
It's the Library of Alexandria meeting Marvel's Avengers. And it really does, it just changes everything you think you know about what Greek mythology is or what it can be.
We are talking, of course, about the Argonautica by Apollonius Rhodius. And I think for most people, the immediate association is, the old Ray Harryhausen movie?
The stop-motion skeletons, right?
Yeah, a guy in a toga, very swashbuckling. But the actual text, it's something else entirely. It feels like a psychological thriller that was written by a deeply neurotic librarian.
That is the perfect description. This foundational text of the ancient mystery traditions, but at the same time, it's a radical reinvention of what a hero even is.
Right.
If you come to this expecting the Iliad, men screaming and fighting for glory, you're going to be very confused. This is a roadmap. It's a roadmap of initiation, of spiritual transformation, and the confrontation with the divine. But it's all disguised as a sea voyage.
But let's set the stage for a second before we even get on the boat, because the context of where this was written is almost as interesting as the story itself.
It really is.
We are in Alexandria, 3rd century BC.
The intellectual capital of the ancient world. I mean, you have the great library, you have the museum, and you have Apollonius. And he isn't some wandering bard like Homer, singing for his supper.
No.
He's a scholar. He's a man of letters. He is surrounded by, scrolls containing all of human knowledge. And he's writing in the shadow of the greatest poets who ever lived.
And that shadow, it caused some serious drama. There's this famous literary feud between Apollonius and his own teacher, a man named Callimachus. And it sounds petty, but it actually defines the entire book.
It absolutely does. Callimachus was the establishment. He famously said, "A great book is a great evil."
Which is a wild thing for a librarian to say.
It is, but his philosophy was that poetry should be small, refined, polished like a little gem. He believed the age of the sprawling epic was just over.
You can't out-Homer.
You can't, so don't even try. He wanted wit, brevity, localized myths. He wanted small, perfect things.
And Apollonius basically said, hold my beer.
Exactly. He wanted to prove that you could write a modern epic.
Yeah.
But he knew he couldn't just copy the old style. He had to infuse it with the spirit of the Alexandrian age.
And what did that mean?
It meant psychology. It meant etiology, which is the study of origins, why things are the way they are. And crucially, it meant romance.
Romance is the real game changer here. I mean, in the Iliad, women are mostly prizes to be won or, victims of the war. In the Argonautica, the woman Medea is the engine of the plot.
She is the nuclear reactor at the center of the story. Without her, the ship doesn't move. The quest fails. It's that simple.
So let's lay out our thesis for this deep dive. We aren't just looking at a travelogue with monsters. We're arguing that the Argonautica serves as a profound allegory for the soul's journey. The initiate, who is Jason, has to venture into the unknown, which you could call the unconscious or the divine realm, to retrieve the Golden Fleece.
And that fleece represents illumination or maybe the higher self.
Exactly. But, and this is the crucial part, he can't do it alone. The entire mystery hinges on the integration of the masculine principle, his own drive, with the feminine magical force, which is Medea.
That integration is the secret. It's the key that unlocks the whole text.
So let's walk down to the beach at Iolcus. The story kicks off with a king, Peleus, who is absolutely terrified. He's received an oracle.
A very strange oracle. It tells him to beware the man with one sandal.
Which is such a specific, bizarre detail. And of course, right on cue, here comes our hero, Jason. Now, why does he only have one sandal?
The text tells us he lost it in the mud while helping an old woman cross a river.
A little act of kindness.
A pivotal act of kindness, because that old crone was Hera, the queen of the gods, in disguise.
So his character is established immediately. He isn't introduced killing a lion or sacking a city like Heracles would be. He's introduced doing basically community service for an elderly woman.
Precisely. He begins his heroic journey with an act of service to the divine feminine, even though he doesn't know who she is. And this marks him. Hera despises Peleus, and she decides then and there that Jason is going to be her instrument of vengeance.
So Peleus sees the one sandal, Canix, and comes up with what he thinks is a brilliant plan. He sends Jason on this impossible suicidal mission. Go to Colchis, which is basically the end of the known world, and bring back the Golden Fleece.
It's a death sentence. It's meant to be. He's not supposed to come back.
So Jason has to assemble a team. And the crew he gets is just staggering. It's a mythological who's who.
It's the original super team. You have the Sons of the North Wind, Zeets and Calais, who literally have wings. You've got Lynceus, who has X-ray vision. The text says he can see through wood and stone, even down into the underworld.
Incredible.
And Periclymenus, the shapeshifter. I mean, the powers on this boat are off the charts.
But the one that always stands out to me, the one that feels like a clue, is Orpheus. Why do you bring a musician harp player on what is essentially a military raid?
That is the single most significant inclusion on the crew list. Orpheus is the master of mysteries. In the ancient world, you have to understand, music wasn't just entertainment. It was a form of technology.
It's vibration. It's physics.
It's physics, exactly. And Apollonius puts him there for two very specific reasons. The first is practical, to keep the peace. You have 50 alpha males on a tiny boat. They're going to kill each other before they even leave the harbor.
So Orpheus plays his lyre to calm them down when they start arguing.
He literally tunes the crew. He tunes their souls. And secondly, and more importantly, he is there for spiritual warfare. There are things on this journey that you cannot punch. You can't stab them. You have to out-vibrate them.
Speaking of punching, that brings us to the leadership crisis. Right at the beginning, the crew gathers, they need to elect a captain, and naturally, every eye in the room turns to Heracles.
Of course. I mean, it's Heracles. He's the ultimate hero. He's the strongest. He's a demigod. He's already famous for his labors. He is the tank.
And Heracles does something very, very interesting. He refuses. He doesn't just say no. He seems almost annoyed that they even asked him. He points straight at Jason and says, he's the guy who assembled us. He's the leader.
This is Apollonius signaling the whole point of his epic. It's a shift in the genre. The brute force of the archaic world, the Heracles archetype, is yielding to something new, something more complex.
And Jason is, well, he's not the strongest. In fact, throughout the book, Apollonius describes Jason as being amashane, which means helpless or at a loss.
He is. He falls into these deep depressions. He cries. He worries about logistics and whether they have enough food.
He's a middle manager on an existential journey.
He's a human being. And that is the entire point. For this new type of initiation, for this journey into the psyche, you don't need a sledgehammer. You need a navigator. You need someone who is permeable, someone who can feel fear and doubt and negotiate with them rather than just smashing them.
So the ship launches, the Argo sails out, and the first major island they come to is Lemnos. And this is a weird stop.
This is the island of women. And the backstory here is incredibly dark.
It's horrifying.
The women of Lemnos had neglected the rites of Aphrodite, so the goddess cursed them with a terrible smell. Their husbands, repulsed, started taking concubines from the mainland. So in collective fit of rage, the women of Lemnos murdered every single male on the island.
Husbands, fathers, sons, brothers, all of them.
Every last one. It's a gender war apocalypse. And then into this society of warrior women, the Argo shows up. A ship full of the most handsome, heroic men in Greece.
Talk about bad timing. Or good timing.
So the women decide that the anger has passed and they need to repopulate the island. So they welcome the heroes with open arms.
And this is the first real trap of the initiation, but it isn't a monster, it's not a beast, it's comfort.
It's the temptation to just stop the journey. The heroes get comfortable, they're feasting, they're sleeping in soft beds, they're starting new families. They start forgetting all about the Golden Fleece.
It's the danger of distraction, of settling for a lesser prize, because it's easy and pleasant. The quest is hard. Staying on Lemnos is easy.
And who is the one person who snaps them out of it?
It has to be Heracles.
Heracles. He refused to even leave the ship. He just stayed on the beach, probably pacing back and forth, disgusted. He finally storms into the city and just shames them all.
What does he say?
He screams at them.
Did you leave your homes to come here and plow fields? Did you come all this way to marry a bunch of murderesses? Or did you come for glory?
He's the voice of conscience.
It's so interesting that the brute, the man of action, is the one who has the discipline here, the focus.
Well, discipline is a form of strength, right? Heracles represents that singular, unwavering focus. But notice, he can't lead them through the complex parts of the journey. He can only push them back onto the path when they stray. He's a course corrector, not a navigator.
So they leave Lemnos, shamed and scrambling back to the boat. Their next major stop is the island of Electra, which is better known as Samothrace. And here, the text gets very, very coy.
It does. It becomes deliberately mysterious. It explicitly says they stop to undergo gentle initiation into the rites of the Kabiri. And then Apollonius writes, "Of these I will say no more."
That is the ancient world's equivalent of a non-disclosure agreement.
It absolutely is. The Samothracian mysteries were famous in antiquity, particularly for protecting sailors from shipwreck.
But symbolically, this is the pivot point of the entire first book.
Before Samothrace, they were just a bunch of adventurers. After Samothrace, they are initiates. They have been ritualistically prepared for the other world. They now carry a secret, a hidden knowledge that's meant to shield them.
They've leveled up their souls. And almost immediately after this spiritual upgrade, they lose the biggest physical asset on the ship.
They lose Heracles.
The Hylas episode, it's so tragic and strange.
It is. Hylas is Heracles' squire and, well, his lover, a beautiful young boy. He goes ashore to fetch some water from a spring. A water nymph sees him, is overcome by his beauty, and pulls him down into the depths. He just vanishes without a sound.
And Heracles completely loses his mind.
He goes feral. He's running through the woods, uprooting pine trees with his bare hands, just screaming Hylas' name over and over.
Yeah.
And while he's doing this, the wind picks up, the tide is right.
And the Argo leaves?
The Argo leaves. They abandon the strongest man in the world on a remote island.
That must have caused chaos on the ship.
It causes a near mutiny. One of the heroes, Telamon, accuses Jason of doing it on purpose, of stranding Heracles just to get rid of a rival for glory. But spiritually, from the perspective of the initiation, this had to happen.
Because Heracles is just too much. Too extra for the quest.
He's too perfect, but in the old definition of heroism, if Heracles stays on that boat, there is no story. He would just punch King Aedes in the face, he would wrestle the dragon and snap its neck, he'd grab the fleece. End of story.
There would be no struggle, no growth for Jason.
And crucially, no need for Medea. The perfect hero of the old world has to be discarded so that the flawed initiate of the new world can actually face the darkness and be transformed by it.
That is a profound idea, that your greatest strength, the thing everyone relies on, might actually be the very thing holding you back from the struggle you need.
Exactly. You cannot learn how to navigate the complex currents of the psyche if you have an engine that just smashes through every single wave. You have to learn to yield.
So, without Heracles, they sail into the unknown. We're moving into book 2, which I kind of think of as the monster of the week section of the story.
Yes, but these aren't random encounters. Each one feels like a very specific test, a specific threshold they have to cross.
It starts with, of all things, a boxing match.
They land in the country of the Bebrycians, ruled by King Amycus. This guy is a nightmare. He's a giant, ogre-like figure who has a rule. Every stranger who lands on his shore is forced to box him to the death.
He represents chaos, doesn't he? Just this unbridled, brutish aggression.
He's the primal, untamed force of nature. The text says he doesn't use technique. He just swings with the force of a crashing wave. And who steps up to fight him?
Polydeuces, one of the Gemini twins.
The divine twin. And the description of the fight is pure order versus chaos. Amycus is like a storm, throwing these wild, heavy punches that could take a man's head off. Polydeuces, on the other hand, is dancing. He's using footwork. He's parrying. He's slipping punches.
It's skill against brute force.
It's the victory of the civilized tactical mind over the primal chaotic impulse. And the finish is brutal, but surgical.
He doesn't just beat him down.
No. Polydeuces waits for the perfect opening, slips under a wild swing, and strikes Amycus right above the ear. The text describes the bone shattering. Amycus drops dead instantly. It's a testament to precision and skill over raw, unfocused power.
From that very physical contest, they move to a sensory horror show, the story of Phineus and the Harpies.
Phineus is such a fascinating character. He was a prophet, a seer, who revealed too much of the mind of Zeus to humanity.
He was a divine whistleblower.
A Promethean figure, exactly. And as punishment, Zeus struck him with blindness and premature old age. But the real torture is the Harpies.
They are disgusting.
Every single time Phineus tries to eat, these monstrous bird women with faces of crones swoop down from the sky. They snatch the food right out of his hands, and this is the gross part, they defecate on whatever is left behind. They leave a stench so putrid that no one can even stand to be near him.
It's just repulsive. But if we're looking at this as an allegory, what are the Harpies supposed to represent?
I think they represent the lower appetites, or maybe obsessive, contaminating thoughts. Phineus is a spiritual man, a prophet, but he cannot sustain himself. He can't take in spiritual nourishment because his intake of energy is constantly being contaminated by these lower vibrations. He's starving to death in the middle of a feast.
And to clear them out, you need the boards Zetes and Calais.
You need the sons of the north wind. You need air power to fight these air demons. They take off their wings flapping, and they chase the Harpies all the way to the floating islands. They don't kill them, but they banish them permanently.
And in gratitude for this, Phineus gives them the sailing directions for the next leg of the journey. He tells them how to get past the Symplegades.
The clashing rocks. This is probably the most famous hazard of the entire voyage. These are two massive cliffs that are not fixed to the seabed. They are alive, and they constantly crash together with the force of thunder, crushing anything that tries to pass between them.
It's a dynamic barrier. It's the narrow gate from initiation myths.
It is the threshold of the other world. In almost every initiation right across the world, there's a point of no return, a dangerous passage that threatens to annihilate the initiate if their timing, their focus, isn't absolutely perfect.
And Phineus gives them a hack. He gives them a way to test it. He says, send a dove through first.
If the dove makes it through, you roll like hell. If the dove is crushed, you turn back. The gods have forbidden your passage.
So they approach the rocks, the roar is deafening, the sea is churning, they release the dove, it flies straight through, and the rocks snap shut.
They just clip the tail feathers, the very tips. The rocks recoil, and the Argonauts row.
And it's terrifying. The text describes them paddling for their lives, but a massive wave pushes them back, holding them stuck right in the middle as the rocks start to close again.
They are about to be crushed. And then the text says Athena, the goddess of wisdom, literally reaches down from the heavens with one hand, pushes the ship through, and holds the rocks back with her other. Divine intervention.
They shoot out the other side into the Black Sea, and behind them, the rocks crash together one final time and then fuse solid, becoming a normal cliff.
Freezing forever. That is such a powerful image. The barrier is broken. The way to the east, the cultus, the source of the light, it's now open. The initiate has passed the guardian of the threshold.
And once they are through that gate, the whole vibe of the story changes. The geography gets weirder. It's like they're in the unconscious now.
Absolutely. They pass the land of the Masanoisi, and these are people who do all their public acts in private and all their private acts in public.
So they have sex in the town square and eat dinner locked in a closet.
Exactly. It's a total inversion of social norms. It's a signal that we are in a mirrored reality now where the normal rules don't apply.
And then they come to the island of Ares, which is guarded by the Stymphalian birds. Those aren't normal birds.
No, these birds have bronze feathers that they can shoot like arrows, a deadly storm of metallic shrapnel.
And the Argonauts can't fight them with swords or bows. That's useless.
No, they have to use sound. They follow a piece of advice and they bang their swords against their shields. They shout. They create a massive wall of noise, a cacophony.
Vibration again.
It's vibration again. They use focused sound, a higher intensity vibration, to scare off the destructive thoughts, these piercing fears. It's a psychological defense mechanism, not a physical one.
And finally, after all these trials, they see it on the horizon. Colchis. This is the end of the line. The Golden Fleece is here.
But so is King Aeetes, who is a son of the sun god, a powerful sorcerer and an absolute tyrant.
And this is where the story shifts gears completely. It stops being an adventure story and becomes a psychological drama. We enter Book 3, The Heart of Magic.
And we go from the deck of the Argo all the way up to Mount Olympus, where we see the divine conspiracy. Hera and Athena are up there plotting. They know that Jason, our anxious middle manager, cannot get the fleece by force.
It's impossible. Aeschines has a dragon. He has an army of warriors.
So they need an inside man, or in this case, an inside woman. They need the king's daughter, Medea, who is a priestess of Hecate and a powerful witch in her own right.
But Medea isn't just going to betray her entire family for a handsome stranger. So Hera and Athena go to Aphrodite, the goddess of love. And this scene is so delightfully domestic and yet so terrifying. They essentially hire a hitman.
They do. They bribe Aphrodite's son, Eros Cupid, with a toy, a beautiful golden ball that used to belong to the infant Zeus.
I love that detail so much. The entire fate of this epic quest, the fate of nations, it all hangs on a toddler wanting a shiny ball.
It completely strips the concept of romance of any sentimentality. Eros takes the toy, flies down to Colchis, hides behind a pillar, draws his bow, and shoots Medea right in the heart.
So love in this text, it isn't an organic emotion. It's not our eyes met across a crowded room.
No, It is a divine affliction. It is a pathology. It is a madness that is sent from without. Apollonius presents it as a high-precision projectile weapon. Medea doesn't fall in love. She is infected with love.
And Apollonius gives us this incredible visceral description of what that infection feels like. It's not butterflies in the stomach. He describes it as a fire crawling under her skin. Her neck aches, her eyes burn, she's physically ill.
She has a dream that night.
Yeah.
She dreams that Jason is performing the tasks not for the fleece, but for her, to win her as his bride. And that's her subconscious revealing the true nature of this magical attack.
She is torn apart. The book goes into this amazing internal monologue. On one hand, she has eidos, which is shame, her duty to her father, her purity, her identity as a princess of Colchis. On the other hand, pothos, desire, this overwhelming irrational passion for the stranger.
And the stakes get incredibly high because King Aedes confronts Jason and sets the impossible task. He says, sure, you can have the fleece. Just do a few simple chores for me first.
Chores which include yoke 2 massive bulls that have bronze feet and breathe literal fire from their nostrils.
Then use them to plow the field of Ares, a vast, cursed piece of land. Then sow the field with dragon's teeth.
And finally, fight the army of fully armed earthborn men, the Spartoi, that will spring up from the soil where the teeth were sown.
Jason hears this list and he just freezes. The text says he sat speechless, helpless, staring at the ground. He admits to his crew, I can't do this.
And this is why I love Jason as a character. He isn't arrogant. He knows his limits. If this were the Heracles from the beginning of the story, he'd already be punching a bull in the face. Jason just sits there in despair.
And that humility, that state of amishane, is what allows him to accept help. It creates the opening. Medea, tormented by her love, decides to betray her father. She arranges a secret meeting with Jason at the Temple of Hecate.
And that meeting is just electric. They're both so shy and awkward, they just stand there staring at their feet. But the air is thick with magic and doom and this incredible divine force.
She gives him the key, the charm of Prometheus.
Let's break down the ingredients of this charm, because the symbolism is off the charts. It's an ointment made from a flower that grew where the ichor, the divine blood of Prometheus, dripped onto the Caucasus Mountains while the eagle was eating his liver.
It's so metal. But it's also profound. Prometheus is the titan who stole fire and gave it to humanity. He's the archetype of suffering for the sake of knowledge. So to protect Jason from the fire of the bulls, Medea gives him a charm made from the blood of the firebringer.
Like cures like.
It's the ultimate homeopathic magical principle. She gives him very specific instructions. A ritual. He has to bathe in the river by night, dress in black, propitiate Hecate with honey, and then anoint his body and his weapons with the charm.
Jason follows it all perfectly.
Right.
And the transformation is instant. The text says he becomes godlike, he swells with strength, he feels invincible, and his crew can barely look at him.
The contest itself is just cinematic. Jason strides onto the field of Ares. He yokes the fire-breathing bulls. The flames wash over him like warm water, doing no harm. He plows the entire field. He sows the dragon's teeth.
And then the Earthborn men rise up, an army of zombies, essentially. Fully armored warriors, sprouting from the dirt, spears glinting.
And here is where Jason uses strategy, not just brute force. He uses the trick Medea gave him. He doesn't try to fight them all at once, which would be suicide.
He picks up a huge boulder and throws it right into their midst.
It's a confusion tactic. The Earthborn men are strong, but they are mindless. They think one of their own threw the rock. They start fighting each other.
They annihilate themselves in a frenzy of friendly fire. Jason just walks through the chaos and mops up the few survivors.
But the analysis here is vital. Jason succeeds only because he accepted the aid of the other. He acknowledged his own insufficiency and integrated the feminine magical power that Medea offered him.
If he had tried to be the solitary, masculine, Heraclean hero, he would have been a pile of ash in the first 5 minutes. The core lesson is integration.
But he wins. He's done the impossible. And of course, Aedes is not a good sport about it. He has no intention of giving up the fleece. He sees that Jason had magical help.
Aedes is the classic hostile father archetype. He plans to burn the Argo and kill every last one of the heroes in the morning.
Medea overhears the plot. She runs to the ship in the middle of the night, barefoot and frantic. She tells Jason, we have to steal it and run, now.
So the two of them sneak away to the sacred grove where the fleece is kept, and there it is, hanging on a massive oak tree. And it's guarded by a dragon that never sleeps.
And again, Jason can't fight this thing. The text says it's as large as the Argo itself, a giant, sleepless serpent.
So Medea steps forward. This is her domain. She uses a freshly cut branch of juniper dipped in a potion. She begins to chant incantations to the underworld, calling on sleep and death and Hecate. She sprinkles the drugs into the dragon's eyes.
The dragon begins to uncoil, its eyelids get heavy, it gives a great sigh and collapses into a deep slumber.
And Jason steps over the sleeping coils, reaches up, and takes the golden fleece from the tree. And the description is amazing. It's described as heavy, and it glows with a redness like the flame of the rising sun.
Red like the rising sun. That's such a key image. It's not just gold, not just wealth. It's living light. It's solar power. It's consciousness itself.
He lifts it up, and the glow reflects on his face. He is illuminated. He has the prize.
They run back to the ship and row for their lives. But the consequences of their actions are immediate. Medea's brother, Absyrtus, leads the Colchian pursuit fleet.
And this is where the story takes a nosedive into darkness. This is the moment the hero's journey turns into a straight-up horror movie.
Absyrtus is a brilliant commander. He cuts them off, trapping them in the mouth of a river. The Argonauts are surrounded and outnumbered. And the crew, these so-called noble heroes, they actually consider giving Medea back to her father to save their own skins.
Which is a complete betrayal of everything she's done for them.
It is the highest order of betrayal. And Medea is, rightly, furious. She confronts Jason and screams at him, "I gave up everything for you. I betrayed my father, my country, my gods. I am an exile because of you, and you're going to treat me like cattle."
She realizes she can't trust them. So she devises a trap, a horrific trap. She uses Jason as the weapon.
She lures her own brother, Absyrtus, to a meeting on a small neutral island. She promises him gifts, including a beautiful robe that belonged to Hypsipyle of Lemnos, weaving that earlier erotic conquest into this act of murder.
Absyrtus shows up, expecting a parley, maybe to negotiate Medea's return, and Jason jumps out from an ambush.
He doesn't just kill him, he hacks him down like an animal. And then he does something so shocking, so grotesque, makes my skin crawl every time I read it. He licks the blood.
He licks the blood from his fingers and spits it out, and then he mutilates the body.
The masculismos. He cuts off the extremities of the corpse, the hands, feet, nose, and ears, and threads them on a cord that he ties under the armpits.
My God, why? What is the purpose of that?
It's a very specific, dark, apotropaic ritual. The ancient belief was that if you mutilated a murder victim's body in this way, their ghosts would be disabled, wouldn't have hands to grab you with or feet to chase you. Jason is terrified of being haunted by the ghost of the man he just butchered.
It's so grotesque. It's the kind of dark, chthonic magic that a hero is supposed to be above.
This is the moment the hero is completely infected by the darkness he was sent to confront. He isn't Captain America anymore. He's a kinslayer participating in black magic.
And the universe itself recoils. The ship, the Argo, has a magical beam in its prow made from a talking oak from the oracle at Dodona, and it speaks up now.
It cries out in a human voice. The whole ship shudders, and the beam proclaims the wrath of Zeus. It tells them, "You are polluted. You carry a miasma. You cannot go home like this.
You can't bring the prize of illumination, the fleece, back to the world of the living while your hands are metaphorically and literally covered in your brother-in-law's blood."
Exactly. The initiate cannot proceed while carrying the spiritual pollution of guilt. It's an absolute law. They must seek purification.
So they are forced to make a massive detour. The talking demon tells them to go to Circe, who is, conveniently, Medea's aunt.
And the most famous witch in Greek mythology. She lives on an island in the far west. So they have to sail all the way across the known world.
Circe receives them. She performs the ritual. She slits the throat of a piglet and washes their blood-stained hands in its blood. It's a formal ritual cleansing.
But then she asks them to sit down and tell her their story. Who are you? And what did you do that was so terrible?
And when she looks into Medea's eyes, she sees it. She sees the whole crime. She sees the betrayal, the ambush, the murder of her own nephew. And Circe, who is no saint herself, is disgusted.
She kicks them out. She refuses to offer them hospitality.
So she washes their hands, but she condemns their hearts.
She basically says, legally, ritually, you are clean. The Furies won't chase you across the earth, but morally, you are monstrous. Get out of my house.
So they are clean, technically, but they still have a long, long way to go. They have to pass the sirens.
And this is such a great point of comparison with the Odyssey. Odysseus, you'll remember, plugs his men's ears with beeswax and has himself tied to the mast. He wants to hear the deadly song, but be physically restrained, the passive defense.
But the Argonauts have Orpheus, their secret weapon.
Orpheus doesn't use wax. He doesn't need to. He pulls out his lyre and he plays louder. He plays music that is more beautiful than the song of the sirens.
I love that concept. It's not about blocking out the temptation. It's about generating something so much better that the temptation loses its power.
It's the active spiritual defense. You don't shut out the world, you out-create it. You generate a signal so strong and so pure that the noise just can't get in.
They pass Scylla and Charybdis with the help of some sea nymphs, and eventually they arrive at the land of the Phaeacians, ruled by King Alcinous and Queen Arete.
And hot on their heels is the second Colchian fleet. The pursuers are still after them. They go to Alcinous and demand he hand Medea over.
Alcinous is a just king. He's in a tough spot. So he makes a legal ruling. He says, if Medea is still a virgin, she must be returned to her father. If she is married, she must stay with her husband.
And his wife, Queen Arete, overhears this. She likes the young couple, so she runs and leaks the verdict to Jason. She basically tells him, hey, you two need to get married tonight.
So they have a hasty, desperate shotgun wedding in a sacred cave. The Cave of Macrees.
And what do they use for their marriage bed?
The Golden Fleece. They spread it out on the ground and consummate the marriage on top of it.
This is the hieros gamos, the sacred marriage. It's the ritual that completes the union. The fleece is no longer just an object they are carrying. It is now the foundation of their integrated being. The hero and the sorceress are one.
But just when they think they're home free, a massive storm blows them completely off course. They end up in Libya, stuck in the Syrtes.
The Great Cetus. It was a place sailors feared more than anything. It's a massive shallow bay, a giant sandbar where the tide goes out and ships get stuck and never leave. They are stranded in the middle of a desert.
This is the absolute low point of the entire journey. The heroes are dying of thirst and heat stroke. They are hiding under the hull of the ship for shade. They have given up all hope.
And then, in a vision, the three heroines, the nymphs of Libya, appear to Jason. They give him a riddle. Pay to your mother the recompense for her travail.
Travail meaning labor pains. Jason is confused. My mother is back in Greece. What are they talking about?
He's thinking literally, biologically. But the mother here is the ship, the Argo. She carried them in her wooden womb across the sea for months. Now, in her time of distress, it is their turn to carry her.
The great reversal. These big, tough, heroic men have to pick up their massive war galley, put it on their shoulders, and march across the burning sands of the Libyan desert for 12 days and 12 nights.
Can you just imagine the physical agony? The heat, the crushing weight, the thirst? But it's an act of total submission and profound gratitude. The lesson is, you must support that which supports you.
It's like a rebirth. They have to carry the room across the wasteland to find water again.
They finally reach the Garden of the Hesperides, and in a funny, almost tragicomic moment, they find out they're late to the party.
They arrived just after Heracles has been there.
Yes, they see the serpent Ladon twitching on the ground, dying from Heracles' arrows. Heracles came, bashed the snake, stole the golden apples, and left. He did it solo.
They are constantly in his shadow.
They are. But their heroism is being defined as something different. Heracles is a solo act of conquest. The Argonauts are being tested on collective endurance, on humility, on suffering together.
They finally get back to the sea. They are on the home stretch now, but there's one last guardian to face. The island of Crete and Talos.
We're back to our bronze robot on the beach, Talos, an automaton made by the smith god Hephaestus. His job is to walk around the entire island of Crete 3 times a day and throw massive boulders at any approaching ships.
He's an ancient autonomous coastal defense system.
He is, but he has a design flaw. A single vein runs from his neck all the way down to his ankle, and it's sealed by just a thin piece of skin or a single bronze nail. This vein contains the ichor, the divine hydraulic fluid that keeps him animated.
And Medea. She doesn't try to dodge the rocks. She steps onto the deck of the ship.
She engages in psychic warfare. The text is very specific. She uses the evil eye. She projects malignant phantoms at him.
She hacks his visual sensors.
She introduces a glitch into his programming. She makes him see nightmares, hallucinations. He gets confused, disoriented. He stumbles. And in his confusion, he grazes his ankle on a sharp rock.
The seal breaks. The ichor, the divine blood, bleeds out like molten lead. And the giant topples over, crashing onto the shore.
It is the final, ultimate victory of the magical and the psychological over the material and the mechanical. Mind over matter.
And from there, they sail home to Pagasae. The circle is closed. Jason started his journey as a man with one sandal, anxious, helpless, and unsure. He returns as a man who has married the sorceress, held the light of the world, committed a horrific murder, been purified by a goddess, and carried his own ship through the desert.
He is no longer innocent. Not by a long shot, but he is whole.
Which brings us to my favorite part of the show.
The thought experiments.
And time for our usual disclaimer. The following thought experiments are for entertainment and education purposes only. Do not try to hack government hardware with ancient incantations.
Please don't.
Okay. Experiment number 1. The Talos Protocol.
Let's look at the Talos incident again, but through a modern technological lens. You have a hardware system, the bronze body. It's fueled by a unique energy source, the I-core. And it's running a simple patrol and destroy program.
And its critical weakness is a single physical port, the ankle.
Now, Medea defeats him not with kinetic energy, not with a bigger rock, but with information energy. She projects phantoms at him.
So if we interpret this in a modern context, she executed what we would call an adversarial attack on his sensor array.
Exactly. We know that modern AI vision systems can be tricked. You can put a specific pattern of stickers on a stop sign, and a self-driving car might read it as speed limit 45. That sticker pattern is, for all intents and purposes, a malignant phantom.
So the thought experiment is this. In the future of autonomous warfare, the ultimate weapon might not be a bigger gun or thicker armor. It could be a code-based hallucination.
It suggests that the future battlefield belongs to the Medeas, not the Heracleses. The winner is the one who can manipulate the perception of the enemy machine, who can make the AI doubt its own sensors. Medea is the first hacker in Western literature.
I love that. Medea 1.0. Okay, experiment number 2, the Eros virus.
Apollonius is very, very clear in his text. Love is not a choice. It's not an organic feeling. It is a shot from a bow, an arrow. And it's paid for with a bribe.
It's an externally administered agent. It's a technology.
Right. And it's a technology orchestrated by the state, or in this case, the gods Hera and Athena, to ensure a political alliance is formed for a specific mission, which is to get the fleece.
So if emotional attachment can be externally induced via a shot in order to bypass a target's security system,
the security system being Medea's loyalty to her father and her country,
then love becomes a technology of statecraft, a tool for espionage.
Precisely. Let's remap the Golden Fleece quest as a computer simulation or a heist movie. The controllers, Hera and Athena, need to hack the Colchis mainframe. They can't get through the firewall, the fire-breathing bulls, the dragon. So they inject a neurochemical agent, the Eros virus, into a chaotic but powerful variable within the system Medea.
And Medea has root access. She has the administrative passwords to the whole system.
She does. And once she is infected by this targeted virus, her core programming is rewritten. Her loyalty flips, and she opens the back door for the external agent Jason to walk right in and steal the data or the fleece.
This reframes romance as root access that is deeply unromantic and frankly terrifying.
It is, but it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. Are our deepest attachments truly our own? Or are they just programs running in the background to open doors for someone else's agenda?
On that mildly existential crisis-inducing note,
indeed,
this has been a deep dive into the Argonautica. We hope you never look at a golden fleece, or a robot for that matter, in quite the same way again.
Safe voyages, everyone.
This is Talk Treatises. Signing off.